Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today we're going to be talking about the 9 maps that are going to be available with the launch of Battlefield Hardline. We actually have quite a bit of images and video from each map. Starting off with what we know already, Downtown is a large map. It takes place in downtown LA. There's a Levolution event of being able to take down a large city crane, which crashes into a skyscraper, creating some rubble and debris on one part of the map. This is a very cool map. You can actually take elevators all the way up to the top of some of the crazy high skyscrapers. Probably the highest elevation map available of any of the maps in the new Hardline game. Now, Dust Bowl is one of the maps coming out in the February 3rd Hardline beta. From the footage we have here, we can see it's going to be very large. It's desert based. There's going to be helicopters. There's going to be lots of vehicles zooming around the desert. And it also looks like there's going to be some pretty decent infantry combat going on. There's also dirt bikes zipping around there too, so that could be a lot of fun. I have played this map, and although I'm under NDA not to talk about the details, I will just say that it was a lot of fun. Probably going to be one of the more favored maps, especially for people who like Conquest large style game modes. Be sure to check out my videos tomorrow, as I'm going to have one showing off a lot more footage from Dust Bowl, and I'll actually be able to tell you a lot more about what's going on in this map. Next up, we have Bank Job, which is again one of the maps I'm going to be able to show you a little bit more of in tomorrow's video. And this map revolves around a bank heist. The bank itself is extremely cool. It's large. There's multiple stories to it, and there's streets surrounding the bank. So you're going to have some rooftop combat, some street level combat, some inside the bank combat. This is going to be a really cool looking map, and it frankly fits the theme of this game better than any of the maps out there. As we can see from the footage, there's even some Levolution events, dropping an air conditioning unit through the rooftop and using that to be able to basically scramble out of inside the bank vault room onto the roof to try and make a getaway. I imagine smoke grenades and gas grenades are going to be very useful for infiltrating the bank, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of interesting angles at the same time. So I imagine this is going to be a little bit more chaotic, heavily infantry-based map. It definitely looks like it caters to the heist game mode, and I'm very curious to see how it's going to play out with Hotwire. Next up, we have Everglades, and you've seen some footage of this on my channel already. This is definitely a cool map. Again, very flat. There's going to be a lot of swamp, a lot of car chases, and even a helicopter according to the new beta trailer. So that's kind of cool, and I'm excited to see how this map changes depending on the game modes. I do know that the smaller versions of this map have some pretty cool trailer park style infantry combat. It's also probably going to be the only map to feature the swamp boat, which also has a built-on minigun. This thing actually wrecks infantry, and it's going to be pretty cool to see this make its way around the map. Not so great on land, but in water, it's very formidable. Now let's talk about the block. Based on the footage we've seen so far, it's smaller, it looks very infantry centric, and there looks to be a good deal of destruction. The overhead view of this map shows that it's very long and linear, but not very wide on either side, so it's going to funnel infantry into basically a killing zone. It looks like there's 2 major roads on either side and several apartment complexes in between, so there's going to be some building action, some very intense firefights in the street. I've played this map before at some beta events, and I have to say it's one of my favorites. It's just an epic infantry-based map, and I think the destruction level is really going to blow some people away. Now let's talk about Grow House. This map has also been featured quite a bit in the Hardline media, and I gotta say it's a very cool map. It's definitely infantry-centric, but it's got a bit more vertical gameplay to it. You're not just restricted to the ground floors. There's basements, there's regular levels, and there's rooftops. Now, one of the highlights of this map is an underground pot growing facility. It's hidden under what looks like a laundromat, so somebody's clearly been watching a bit of Breaking Bad. A lot of the trailers here show the rescue mode being played, where hostages are being held captive underground, and basically SWAT has to go in and free them, hopefully. Now, something that the devs have talked about a lot too is that if you catch the pot plants on fire, they will burn, create a lot of smoke, and when you go down below, your vision will actually get very clouded and hazy. So this can not only be used tactically, but if you've got a gas mask, you'll probably want to equip it in this map. There seems to be a lot of different ways to infiltrate the facility, and I would imagine that destruction is also going to be a pretty big part of this map. Learning this map is probably going to be more important than most of the other ones out there. Angles, what's destructible, all the different weird little paths, etc. It's probably going to give you a really big leg up on your opponent. The next map is Derailed. It takes place on the industrial side of Los Angeles, and it's a larger map. It definitely definitely focuses on cars, but you're going to have to know how to drive in this map, as there's a lot of debris and things to watch out for. It does provide you, however, with the opportunity to race your cars through the LA canals, which is sort of a famous thing that you see in a lot of car chase movies and stuff like that. The trailer also shows the MG36 as being a battle pickup on this map, and we also get a glimpse of the Levolution as a large train bridge gets taken down and the train kind of derails and comes crashing down into the canals. This map is definitely going to be popular for those who like larger scale maps with lots of vehicles, air vehicles, and potentially good sniper spots as well. Next up is Riptide, which features several islands interconnected by roads and highways. It's definitely going to have a lot of vehicles on it. We see helicopters and even boats. Now these are larger scale boats. They look like they're very fast, they've got mounted weapons, and it's really nice to see actual naval combat making a return in this game, because that's a trickier thing to do in a cops and criminals game, but it looks like Visceral has pulled it off here. Based on the trailer, it also looks like we're going to see some pretty drastic weather changes from light and sunny to dark and stormy. Lastly, we have Hollywood Heights, which is a large mansion high up in the Hollywood Hills. It takes place at nighttime, and there's going to be clearly a lot of destruction. This is probably one of the maps that we have the least amount of footage of, but it looks to be very infantry centric. Expect to be having a lot of through the walls firefights. It'll be really interesting to see how this map plays out once everything has been destroyed. Anyway, that wraps it up for this video, and I hope it gave you a pretty good overview of the 9 maps that you'll be seeing with Battlefield Hardline at launch. Be sure to stay tuned to this channel throughout the rest of the week. There is going to be a ton of Battlefield Hardline coverage. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.